Power with an extra R? What?
Welcome to the Joyous Expansion Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Dupree, scouring the globe to bring you stories of courage, passion, and resilience. If I could sum up this podcast into one word, I would use empathy. Now let's get inspired.
Welcome to the Joyous Expansion Podcast. I am your host once again, Brett Dupree, here with an interview with Catherine Wright, who's going to introduce you to power and how to grow your business. But first, I'm going to be vulnerable, because if I cannot be vulnerable, how can I ask my guests to be vulnerable? It is March 17th, folks. Yes, we are in a crisis in the United States and in the world. COVID-19 is taking over all the airways, everything about life. And if you listen to last week's episode, I talked about it. And this week is it again, because honestly, it is my life. It is putting a huge spotlight on my life and what I think about it and stuff. And also how flippant I can be. Just think about it. At first, I was thinking that every time I go out, it's like playing Russian roulette with my life. Because as a bigger person, I am more potentially one of the people who can have a severe reaction to COVID-19, or a higher percentage. Young, super healthy people are also having bad reactions. It's just 1 in 1,000 instead of like something like 1 in 10. But when you have, this disease and it's so spreadable. So, yeah. So I've been thinking about that, it's quite possibly like taking a gun with 10 blah, 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 spinning it and then putting it to my head. And hopefully I'm just kind of knocked on my butt for 2 weeks and not needing to go to the hospital on a ventilator. But it's different than that. It's more like an app or a game of Russian roulette, the app of Russian roulette. And every time you go out, you have a chance of playing the game. But you don't know you're playing the game. And if you are chosen to play the game, every time you go out and you are around somebody else, you are giving them a chance to play the game. Just a random chance. I mean, yes, washing your hands, not touching your face, all the things decreases your chances of getting it. But at the same time, it doesn't make it zero. When you are around somebody, you still have a chance. You still have a chance to get this disease because it's in the air. And you've read a lot of stories, or I've read a lot of stories, of just one individual going to a party of 100 people or so, and then about 40 to 50% of the people from there gets the disease. Look up South Korea patient 31, the one person who didn't listen to the quarantine, and just by them infected at least over 400 or so people or more. In fact, it would have a lot more devastation because of one person. And that's what this is. So last week, I wasn't exactly as diligent in staying home. I went to work for 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I thought to myself, practically no one else is there. And every evening, I'd go out once because this is just too much for me to handle. There's a part of it, me just kind of freaking out and wanting to eat food, wanting to do something to make me feel good so that I can forget it and not feel the feelings of fear. Because this is by far the most scared thing. This makes 9/11 look like nothing, to be honest. I mean, I know that's probably controversial, but 9/11 sucked. But this could kill more people and put a bigger mental scar on this country and the world. And the fact that a lot of people are going to die and the economy is going to get wrecked. It's already been wrecked, but it's going to be wrecked. There's going to be no normal in the next 3 months. Football could be delayed. And as a sports fan, the NBA fans and hockey fans are feeling it right now. Baseball fans are feeling kind of, because the real fans are in spring training, and spring training has been delayed. But at the same time, right now, awash in free agency news, which thank God has given me something to distract myself that's not eating too much food from going to Wingstop, but is just giving me something to read and talk about and laugh at my friends who are Colts fans because they just signed Phillip Rivers to $25 million. But at the same time, this year, the rest of the year is going to be, even if we do flatten the curve and we do what we're supposed to do, increase our respirators, get to the point where we can start handling this, get to the point where there's testing, there's going to be flare-ups. And for at least the next 18 months or so, until we have a vaccine and some good treatments, this is going to be a thing because it just spreads too fast and affects people. And unfortunately, it kills kind of a low amount of people, but since it affects so many people, it just hits the hospital so quickly. And so basically what I'm saying is I shouldn't have left the house all week unless I needed to, except for like maybe once when I go to the store to stock up on things I need, like frozen vegetables, and found some cleaning supplies and some disinfectant. So those times I should go out and get the things I need. So unless I absolutely need them, I shouldn't be going out, especially since I am in that sense. But I did. And so I've been thinking about that. You know, how you do everything is how you do anything. How you do anything is how you do everything. And I've been talking about this for a while. Not really how I deal with fear is. How I deal with fear is kind of, try to push it to the background and dealing with something this big. And I know I don't get the enormity of it. I don't understand it. There's just no way for me to grasp it. And you can see with a lot of people out there who are trying to put it down, in my humble opinion, is they don't grasp it. It's hard to grasp. It's like the idea of a meteor coming and hitting the earth. There's one actually in April that's quote unquote close, 1 in 50,000 chance. It probably will miss. I think it's just outside the moon. I don't remember if it's in the moon's orbit. Space is huge, but it's like that's happening and we only have so many things to live. How do we handle it? Or we have a small chance to live. How do we handle it? Well, we can't, because there's something that is beyond our grasping. And that is what this situation is. I do not grasp the enormity of the situation. I am being completely honest. I do not. I'm trying to get it. I'm educating all the people I know to try to get them to the point where I am, where I know this has to be taken seriously. You need to stay your butt at home. And yes, it sucks that your livelihood is probably, and you're not going to know where your next meal is going to be with so many people, because our economy is set up in such a way where we don't have safety nets. And hopefully our federal government and state governments will do enough to help steady the tide, and our communities will come together and help each other. But at the same time, this is going to wreck us. And all we can do, for the most part, is have it wreck us less. And the entire goal is, in 6 months from now, is for people to say we overreacted because it didn't wreck us. But you can just look at Iran and Italy and UK and other countries, and just, I know I live in the Seattle area, and a couple weeks from now, if not next week, things can really get scary here, because this disease, unfortunately, takes like 2 to 3 weeks to really hit. Technically, I could have COVID-19. I have a little tickle in the back of my throat, and it just could be gestating in my lungs, and maybe because I'm bigger, it's taking a little bit longer for me to really show symptoms. I don't have any of the other ones other than the cough, but it's a stuffy nose, which is not one of them, and it was kind of bad on Saturday. I actually snored, my girlfriend told me, but I'm sleeping better and I can breathe better, so I kind of feel myself getting well, so I don't think I have it. But at the same time, I could have it, and I just don't know yet because I don't show symptoms. And it kind of hides as well. And so next week, things could really explode here. And it's almost waiting for it. And so just embracing the knowledge that that's most likely going to happen. And my decision of, is that going to make me better or is that going to make me bitter? Is that going to wreck me or is that going to build me? Because that's all I can do. I can only control myself. And each one of us in our society needs to make that choice. Is this something we're going to be angry and start hating Chinese people and becoming more xenophobic and want to close our borders? Or this is the time we're going to come together and truly recognize the fact that we are a people, we are a society. Maybe we can build a society that works for most of us, or more, most of us, and creates a point where if something like this happens, not everything collapses. This has only been a couple of months, and airlines and cruises and all those businesses are about to collapse. They had no contingency plan just in case a pandemic happens, which does happen every 50 to 100 years. I mean, that's just, and it's a bigger thing because we are a global society, and we are always going to be global as long as we're capitalist. It's just the way it works. We can blame globalism as much as we want, but as long as you want cell phones, for I complain about that are $1,000 cell phones, but they'd be a lot more expensive if it wasn't for our globalistic society. I mean, what do we want to build? Who do we want to be? I know I almost feel like a little guilty about that and then leading into an interview, but that's the way this podcast is created. So if you want to be somebody who works at a business and develops a business and have your business, make better for the common good. If you want to be a part of that, starting your own business is a way to do that. And Catherine White is a business growth strategist and founder of Accelerated Results 365. She assists businesses in achieving exponential growth and developing powerful, productive teams. With over 20 years experience in leading individuals and teams to innovate successful outcomes, Catherine uses her financial, managerial, HR, and accounting expertise to support business and develop practical and efficient processes while building definable goals that align the organization with its team and customers through a signature program, P.O.W.E.R.R, with an extra R. And now here is my interview with Catherine White.
Hello, Catherine, and welcome to my podcast.
Good morning. Thank you, Brett.
I'm excited to have you on.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell the listeners a little bit about what you do.
Well, I am a business growth strategist, or what some may think of as a business coach / consultant. I offer services to my clients that combine coaching techniques with consulting techniques to help them in the growth of their business.
Cool. So what got you wanting to be a coach?
More or less, it's what I've done pretty much my whole growing up years and not really knowing it. I went through a series of, as a child, constantly changing what I wanted to be because there were so many things that I enjoyed, from teaching to psychology to even maybe law and just a variety of things. And I went to college. I ended up studying for an accounting degree because I realized that what I really wanted to do was start my own business. And accounting seemed like a great way to do that. So over the years, as I've gone into the accounting field, I've ended up working in a variety of different areas in business, and not just accounting, everything from office management to accounting to human resources and different aspects of the business. As I was in the working field this entire time, I also spent many years with some kind of a side gig, and realizing that although I enjoyed accounting was not the business that I wanted to start. I always kept my options open, looking for that one thing that was it, the right thing, participated in or tried out different types of business opportunities. And literally just a matter of me keeping my options open was how I came across accounting and how I ended up coming across coaching and choosing that realm. Really what happened was I found something on the internet, piqued my curiosity. I answered a survey, got a phone call, had this phone call with this lady, told me about this coaching training program or certification program. And I just knew. I knew right then and there, this is what I've been looking for. I immediately, before that phone call ended, I signed up for the program. And that was the beginning of my career in my business as it is now.
That's interesting. Accounting seems to be almost the antithesis of coaching because it's just, numbers and all that things. How was it
actually,
going from one to the other?
In my business, I utilize both, which is really what I love doing. Like I said, when I was young, I had this and desire to study a number of different things or to become a number of different things. I was very broad in my interest, and that still stands. And actually what I ended up doing once I started into the coaching, I started my certifications, and when I completed that, started my business. I originally went, I guess you could say, completely to the opposite spectrum from the analytical side in accounting to life coaching, which is, as you know, very personal, very, say, touchy-feely, connecting with people, relationship-oriented. And as I started my business, I found that the people that I was attracting and that I was working with were in business. And as I was working with these people, I found that I was doing more than life coaching, I was also helping them within their business. I love to bring in the accounting and the numbers, a number of other things that I learned in regards to managing or running a business. So I end up defining my business rather than as life coaching, as business coaching. And then as it continued, as I got my feet under me a little bit better, I got more familiar with what I was doing and started really defining my business. I found that coaching didn't really define what I did entirely either. And I found that I was doing a lot of consulting as well. With all of that, or what I've been able to do is tie in coaching. I do some life coaching in there. I focus on the business, focusing on what my clients can do to expand their business, to grow it, to make it more efficient, to make it more profitable.
That's interesting. So there's both a kind of like an analytic touch as well as a personal touch to your coaching practice.
Exactly.
So when you first got started, what were your fears in becoming a coach?
It's really hard for me to address them as fears because for me, when it comes to fears or uncertainties, I look at that more as I love to learn and I love to grow. And so there was definitely a learning curve. I believe that there always will be, no matter how long I will have been in business. I believe that we always need to learn. It's hard for me to really define it as a fear. I would say definitely there were uncertainties as far as not really knowing exactly how this business is going to look, how it's going to turn out. Probably the biggest one was making the decision between when I would end up leaving my full-time job and making that transition. And then for me, I'm a single parent. I've got 4 children. The uncertainty of knowing how successful will this be? Is it going to be able to support my family, or am I going to be able to support my family on it? So I would say financial side of it would probably be my biggest uncertainty.
So how was that leap from jumping off from the security of the full-time job and going for it 100% on your own? So how was that leap from jumping off?
There were definitely some uncertainties as to whether or not, is this the right thing? Is this the right time? To be honest, I'm not sure that it was the right time, and I did it anyway. So I think it's one of those things that, like they say with parenting, if you're waiting for the right time, it will never come. I believe that to be true in regards to your business. If you're waiting for the right time to start, the right time will never come. If you're waiting for the right time to leave your job, that time will never come. And so you just do it.
So your transition in helping people, this is one thing I like to ask coaches really, is you ever come through the fraud phenomenon? Kind of like, who am I to help this person?
Absolutely. Constantly. I do. I'm sure that we all go through that. Am I really fit for this? Do I really have the appropriate skills, or do they really need me? Am I really going to benefit them or help them? Oh, certainly. I deal with that all the time.
And how do you get over it?
Well, really a matter of coaching myself through it, having that self-talk, that self-dialogue, recognizing what I'm doing and stopping myself, redirecting my thoughts, or what some might say, reframing my thoughts, and I remind myself of the skills that I do have, and that I don't have to have or know all the answers for my client, because part of the process of working together is finding those answers together. Coaching really is about helping the client find their own answers. And of course, with me coming in with not just the coaching aspect, but consulting aspect is where I am providing answers or solutions or resources. And I recognize that there is just world of never-ending resources, especially in this changing world of technology. And it's impossible for me to know everything. So again, going back to, I don't have to know it all. Find out what my client needs. And a lot of it, we figure it out along the way.
Cool. So when it came to creating your business, how exactly did you go about creating your niche?
After finishing my coaching certification, getting my business license, so officially starting my business, I immediately got involved in networking groups, networking referral type organizations. And that was the start of me getting clients that were actually paying. So that really has been a great help and an excellent springboard for me to start figuring out who my client is, who I really want to work with. And a lot of it has been a matter of just getting out in the field with those uncertainties. And again, just doing it, stepping in or jumping in and getting my feet wet and get out in the networking world, start working with clients. And as I worked with different people, that's how I've started to realize the types of people that I work best with. And I believe in continual learning. Along with that, continual growth. I don't believe that I'm finished in regards to my market. I believe that as my business continues to grow and evolve, that my clientele will grow and evolve as well. And I'm not sure that that will ever be an ending progression either.
So looking at your website, I'm curious, what does P.O.W.E.R.R with the extra R stand for?
I love it when people ask me that. And when someone asks me what P.O.W.E.R.R means, they usually ask me, so what does that second R mean? And I find it funny because I think to myself, well, what about the other 4 letters or the other 5 letters? But everybody typically wants to know what R is, although that's not what you asked. That's my typical reaction. So P.O.W.E.R.R, what it stands for, it is an acronym that I use it as a foundation for the clients that I work with. P.O.W.E.R.R stands for possibilities. I am working with my clients to help them find what's possible and not just what they think is possible, but expand what truly is possible. In other words, how can they reach toward their true potential? And how can I help them find what their true potential is? O stands for outcome. I know you're familiar with this, Brett, as you're in business. Having a vision of what end result is or what outcome is critical in being a highly successful individual or having a highly successful business, is having that vision. So being able to help my clients find that vision of what they want the outcome to look like. W is creating the workable steps, breaking your big, what some call big audacious goal, down into small achievable steps so that you can work your way up to the big goal. E is for having an empowering environment and looking at what are you surrounding yourself with? What is the environment that you are creating? Is it empowering you to reach the level of success that you desire? And part of that is also the environment that you're creating for others, and how are you empowering those around you, from your clients to anyone that you have on your team to your community as a whole. The first R stands for resources, and that's where we get to dig into more of the analytical side of things and look at what kind of processes and resources are you currently using within your business, and what other processes and resources are available that you may not even realize are out there. How can we find those, and how can we implement them into your business so that you are more effective, more efficient, and achieving the results that you're looking for? And the last R is where you get to the fun part, and that's about rewards and recognizing your accomplishments. We tend, I believe as a whole, we tend to get caught up in thinking our accomplishments have to be these big, grandiose things that we've achieved. And that's what defines success. In reality, our accomplishments are all of the little steps along the way that got us to that big achievement. When I'm working with my clients, I'm helping them see more than just the big results, but also recognize the small steps along the way, so that those little steps, feeling the little successes along the way, helps them. When we recognize that these little things are really a big deal, it builds our confidence and it engages us more. It creates that motivation, that momentum. A lot of people look externally for motivation. What I'm doing is I'm helping people find that internal motivation, which is the true motivation that's really going to drive you forward in your business.
Oh, I like the second R a lot. I was actually listening to a podcast yesterday that was pretty much talking about the importance of the holidays, but not in the sense of each individual holiday, but the fact that when we celebrate a holiday, we're giving ourselves time to celebrate something. And that's just something that is necessary for our survival, our mental health. And a lot of times, especially in business, do something that is phenomenal, but your mindset and a lot of our culture set is, well, what do we do next? Instead of even spending some time in celebrating what we just did.
Also, in addition to that, oftentimes when we do stop and look at the things that we did, we tend to diminish the importance of those things that we did. Like, oh, well, that's not a big deal. That was easy. Anybody could have done that. And we tend to feel that it just wasn't enough. It wasn't that important unless we did something really, really big, really grandiose that everyone's going to ooh and ah over. It's not true. Those small things are important. And without those small things, you're not going to get to the big thing.
And as a mother, I don't know, this just came into my mind is one thing I noticed, especially talking with single moms, is that a lot of them think about raising their children as an obligation and not a success in a sense, because a lot of you can be a terrible parent.
Well, there are a lot of challenges to being a parent. It's really easy to feel like, as a parent, like you're a failure because you have these ideas or ideals and expectations of how you want your children to be, how you want them to turn out. Children are really good at testing you. You know, they're good at trying you. and they're people too. And they're out in the world trying to figure out their own life. And as a parent, you just wish you could figure it out for them, right? Because you have all these experiences that they don't have. You have knowledge that they don't have. And when you see your children go through their challenges and you see them struggle, it's so easy to wonder, am I doing a good job? To feel like you're a failure.
What do you like best about your business?
There are so many things that I love about my business. I love that it's mine, that it's my creation. The things that I do, like my power system, that's mine. I created that. And I love that. I love that I get to call it mine. I'll say that is definitely at the top there. I love that I get to choose how I run it. I get to choose when I work it. Now, mind you, I come across a lot of people who have this idea that, wow, that is so cool. You know, I would love to be able to work when I want to and sleep in and yada, yada, yada. And, you know, so many people have this idea of what it means to be self-employed, and they dream about it. They salivate about it. The reality is I work hard to be self-employed, and I'm running long hours. I don't sleep in, which is fine with me. I prefer not to. I prefer to be up in the morning and start my day. My point is just that so many people don't realize what goes into being self-employed. But I love that aspect of it. And as a single mom, it does allow me to be able to adjust my schedule when my children are sick, or when my children have a doctor appointment, or when my children have a program at school, whatever it is. It's really nice for that. What else? I love working with the people that I work with. It's very fulfilling for me when I have the opportunity to see somebody grow and change themselves, to see their business grow, and to see them reach success.
So speaking of seeing people reach success, do you have any fun success stories to share with us?
My clients have reached a variety of different types of success. One fun story I have was with a lady that I was helping, and this was literally our first session together. She was pretty new in her profession, which was, in her mind, completely different than what she did in her previous profession. And she was really struggling with how to make this jump and how to be successful in this new industry. And in the first session with her, what we were able to achieve was finding that what she did in her previous career, that she found no relation to her current career. And we were able to find not a similarity, but we were able to find something that tied in, kind of to bridge that gap. And all of a sudden, it was like this big light bulb went on for her. She was able to find ways to utilize her skills from her previous career to now boost and grow the career that she was in. And immediately, she was bringing in new referrals, new business, closing more sales. So that was really exciting to see. I have a gentleman that I work with who wasn't in business, wasn't even thinking about it. We had a conversation about his current career, and I just point blank asked him, "What are you doing?" what are you doing in this career? You have so many skills. You have so much to offer. He realized, yeah, you're right. I do. So he's been a lot of fun working with. One more I'll share is a woman that I was working with. She'd been in business for a while, and her struggle point was with her staff, her employees. And she was really struggling with how to connect with them. In the personality world, her personality was on different sides of the spectrum. She was the very get it done, crack the whip type of person. And her employees were the very relational, connecty, touchy-feely type of people. And those type of people tend to clash quite often. In working with her, I was able to help her find ways that she could connect with her staff, and it made a big difference in her business. If you have employees, your team, they're your biggest asset. Without them, you're doing it all on your own. And I'm sure you know, Brett, if you're trying to do it on your own, it's tough and it can hold you back.
We are coming to the end of our time together. One thing I like to ask my guests is to give a 1 minute of motivation. You can imagine this as if you have a time machine and you're going back to your 8-year-old self. However, you want to give everything you need to succeed, but you only have 1 minute before you're taken back into the future, or you can think of it as condensing your life purpose and message down to 1 minute.
Be intentional about your life and where you're going. Research, find information that will help guide you to find that intention, and seek mentors. Seek mentors who will hold your hand and walk you through and guide you. When I was young, I didn't have that. And looking back, I know if I would have had that, I would have been able to get so much further ahead of where I am. And not that I regret it, because the process along the way is part of what got me to where I am. But where possible, be intentional and seek for mentors.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed listening to your story on how you started around in your businesses and finally picked the one that is right for you, and you went for it. And that you also then went for it before you were ready to quit your day job and created something that is yours and that truly helps and support other people with your power with the extra R. So thank you so much for coming on my podcast, and thank you so much for everything you do to make this world a better place.
Thank you, Brett. I appreciate it.
May your day be special.
Thank you. Yours as well.
And there you have it, folks. That was my interview with Catherine White. Wow, do you want to be successful in your business? I liked the way she discussed of what she loved about her business. I think it's always fun to learn about the autonomy and what you can get by owning your own business, and the freedom that you can get with the ownership. And hiring someone like Catherine can allow you to do the same and take your business to the next level. So if you are interested in hiring Catherine, if you're interested in Catherine and learn about the 3 core obstacles that keep businesses from thriving, the limited mindset that is involved in business, innovating communication among teams and with customers, and the lack of knowledge resources, her P.O.W.E.R.R. addresses each of these facets and guides you in transitioning your business from surviving to thriving. And one thing we need right now, folks, is thriving businesses. Are you ready to achieve exponential growth in your business? Catherine M. White with Accelerated Results 365 provides business professionals like you innovative tools for building effective business processes using her signature program, P.O.W.E.R.R. With her system, you will feel empowered in building your business, developing a strategy for standing out, and learn methods for efficiently managing and growing your money. Check out www.acceleratedresults365.com to schedule a consultation or call 206-422-4450. And there you have it, folks. That is episode 61 of the Joyous Expansion Podcast. I am your host once again, Brett Dupree, noting if you are here, I love you for who you are. If you are interested in more podcasts, you can check me out, pod.joyousexpansion.com. You can also Email me at bre2ts2pr2ease@joyousexpansion.com. You can also check out joyousexpansion.com for more information. You can also find me on Instagram at Joyous Expansion, Twitter at Joyous Expansion, and Facebook at Increase Your Joy. That is some bad SEO there. But that doesn't matter because I am once again Brett Dupree, your champion of authentic joy, Church of Awesome, catalyst of transformation for the Church of Awesome, and Joyous Expansion life coach, here once again to remind you to be love, to be joy, to be awesome. I'll play that jingle.
JoyousExpansion.com. JoyousExpansion.com. Come and say hello to Brett Dupree. He is an inspirational life coach. Good for you and good for me. He turned my life from grey to blue. I'm sure he'll do the same for you. Get in touch and you'll see your life will change dramatically. JoyousExpansion.com. JoyousExpansion.com. Yeah.